What if we did an episode that was just ASMR?
Or have you seen those silent reviews?
Yes,
And then we're like
yes.
a whole podcast episode where we do silent reviews.
That's a really good idea.
I'm feeling like anytime I'm overstimulated and I'm in this scenario and I know that this is not picking up my voice, but like your body's so close to me, I'm like I'm having a hard time.
Do you want to stand in the middle?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm just like anytime someone's physical body is really close to me, I have a little bit of like a
Let's look into that.
that's why I didn't play contact sports because I would be too aggressive. Like truly, it's why I didn't play like basketball.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to Fuck Wellness. I'm Mallory.
I'm Laura.
And I'm McKenna.
And we're really happy to all be in one place right now.
So happy to be physically so close to each other.
As we were just talking about. Huge announcement for the pod. If anyone's watching the YouTube, you'll see it first.
Wow.
I put on Mal's engagement ring.
That's the announcement.
Yeah, that's the announcement. It does suit me nicely.
It does look really good.
It looks really good.
So that's the announcement. This is actually not Mal's engagement ring. This is
My parents.
Mal's parents' engagement ring. Not too bad.
It does really suit you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Jean-
it's mine now.
Jean, do you hear that? Okay, I'll take it off.
What if we did a whole bit where you couldn't get it off?
Yeah, just so I can keep it. Okay, so today on the pod, we have a few things to go over. First of all, sorry for the chaotic opening. It is Friday night.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, California. Mal has been going daily to a conference where she gets smarter every day. I've been working at Trader Joe's. Ken's been doing her job. And it's just we've had a bit of a week, but today on the pod we're actually going to talk about stuff that happened a few weeks ago.
I think it'll be a good vent sesh though.
Yeah, we've kind of been sitting on some good stories just until we had the opportunity to tell you all about them.
Yeah. And we're here to tell all.
Yeah.
Except probably not mention the actual names.
Well, except it's really not going to be a tell-all at all because we have to.
We don't want to get sued.
We don't want to get sued. Yeah. Do you want to go first or shall I?
Can I pause in here? Do we need to change my name?
That's okay.
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Sure. So Laura's gonna go first. It's kind of this story is a bit of a joint story with Ken and myself because it all started, as all good stories do, with the two of us at a coffee shop. Is kind of how, like, the very beginning of the story. It's not connected at all, but like we had come into some funny information about our past at this coffee shop.
I have no idea. I literally have no idea.
Yes, you will. You'll get it in a second.
Funny information. We
Funny-
already talked about this.
We already talked about the whole like ex's connection with our neighbors. So we came into that information. And I feel like, you know, we talked about this on the pod before. I'm really like expanding the story until we actually like zoom in to the actual story. But I feel like let me take this, guys. I feel like whenever there's big emotional information that I'm confronted with, my brain is like, deal with it by movement. Like, go have some movement. That's how I feel like my brain has always worked through stuff. And that has not been an option for Ken and I, really, because we were just moving and life was chaotic. And even now in San Francisco, we don't have like a gym or like kind of a set movement program, which is what we've always had our whole lives. So whatever. I was kind of like, okay, cool information at this coffee shop. I would like to continue our search for a gym. So we finished up at the coffee shop and we walked our booties to a gym option that we had been looking into, but kind of feeling disengaged. What's the word?
We just had a previous like mindset about this gym, and
Mhm.
we didn't really feel great morally about supporting this establishment.
Right. But I was gonna
Preconceived notions.
correct.
Yeah, but to be proven true.
Sure.
Don't spoil
Sorry,
the
sorry,
story. No, I'm trying to say that like we were disenamored with the idea of this gym also because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's so much money. But also like I had I don't know, we want to just go tour it. Like we weren't going to sign anything. We were just going to go tour this gym. So we get up, we walk all the way to the gym, up all the hills, down all the hills. And we get into this gym and very fancy, very what's the word? Like
Monochrome.
monochrome, lots of wood. It's glamour. It's glamorous. It's you're feeling
Sleek.
elevated.
Yeah.
And so we walk in and we talk. Of course, they make you like give your social security number to even get in the door. And then we get into the room with the beautiful, sweet, 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 amazing membership advisor that they gave us. We love her. She remains a hero in this story. Well, not really a hero, but just like a good guy.
Protagonist.
Yeah. And so we like get a tour of the gym. We get set up to like come do some tryout classes. So that's what we do. Mouse stretching.
Oh, but on the video it looks like you're like
Some lateral flexion.
Yeah, she's lateral. So we get set up to do some tryout classes. And so this is where the story starts. Took all that to get to where we're getting going. Do you want to hop in?
Sure. I'm a little bit nervous about what we should disclose and what we shouldn't disclose.
I think I'm
It's just your experience. I mean.
Yeah. And basically, okay, so Laura said we arrive and we schedule our first time at this gym, first exercise class, and it's a cycle class. And we have had our fair share of experiences in cycle classes, and we are really big fans of good ones like Team Ride, Dakota, shout out, okay, and SAC. And we were really missing that. And so I was under the impression, because Laura did a lot of the like comms for this, the communications about this. And I was under the impression that we were going to like a music-y type of rhythm cycle class. And what I can only describe as of our experience was like maybe a step below a rec cycle class.
True.
That is just what it was. And I mean, to be fair, like if I'm gonna pay into like a Parks and Rec department, I feel good about that. And like I feel like I'm happy with whatever quality shows up. In an establishment that costs a lot of money, some people's rent, if you live in Wisconsin, maybe.
Literally more than I think what I paid my first year of living in Flint for rent
Yes.
in a nice house.
Yes.
That is how much monthly they are asking for this gym.
Yes. And then the quality is so low. It's problematic. And I left this class ready to tell Laura, oh, bummer. Like we just happened to get the new instructor. And like I'm okay with that experience if like I know it's a new instructor, they're just getting their bearings still. It's fine.
Wait, can you just clarify what made the class not ideal?
Yes. I can. There was really no structure to the class. The instructor continuously just kept saying, this is just hard. This is going to be hard. You can hate me. Ha ha ha. And I was like, this is not fun at all. The music was horrible.
It was just confusing as all get out. Like
it was so bizarre. I've never experienced anything like it. And Mel, you teach cycle at a rec center. Mal's class was so fun at a rec center. So that's why I don't want to
yeah.
throw shade to rec center classes, but I just need to give you like a limit. Like if Mal's rec class was an 8 out of 10, just for numbers, this was a 1 out of 10. I just want to drive the point home.
Is the
Um,
point getting across?
Yeah.
Please
It was
let us
it was
know.
horrible. And then the instructor was like trying to relate to us, but it was just kind of like random topics that she was choosing to talk to us about, like takeout places, for example, while we're riding our bikes, and it wasn't allowed to be any fun.
Yeah, there were also comments about earning your lunch
Yes.
and, you know, the typical
Yes.
slosh-a-bosh.
Yes. But after that, I learned that it was in fact not a new instructor. It was a person potentially in charge of instructors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Who I had been talking to a little bit because in the search for work in San Francisco, I had been playing with the idea of becoming a fitness instructor at this gym so that, you know, we could get some free perks and
Mhm.
free memberships and such things like that.
Yep.
So,
Fast forward a week later, we go back and we try a second class. And it's a different kind of class. It's a circuit class. And we didn't really know what to expect, but it's in a really the gym is beautiful.
mhm.
And before we go any further, we just have to say showers, perfect. Steam room,
Phenomenal.
perfect. Everything else, not so perfect. And then we went to this circuit class, and immediately it was intense, I'll say.
Yeah.
Interesting programming, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I'm struggling, like, how interesting is it to like give the actual details, but like there was just a lot of movements that if you've are comfortable with movement and like weightlifting or anything in general, you would look at this structure of this class and be dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Personally, like I think that that's exactly how someone would feel if you've had any sort of exercise experience at all. And
I was
yeah.
not even thinking about the fact that we were recording this episode or anything, but a few days ago, I was literally just imagining a scenario in my brain where we did that class over again, exactly the same programming, but Mal was with us.
Oh boy.
And Mal was able to be like, yo, I'm literally so pro in this. And I just wanted to like feel what the instructor would look like hearing that news and being like,
I think Mal would have
shit.
left. I think Mal would.
Mal would have left minute 2.
Yeah. Yes. Because in these circuits, I mean, there was probably 3 out of 5 of them. We had to do a lot of like cross body movement that puts so much of your body at risk. Doing like curtsy lunges with an overhead twist.
Yeah.
That was just like absurd.
Weighted-
Mal shaking her head off
weighted
camera.
twists
Weighted
with
twists.
like long lever
Yes.
arms and just like
Yes.
huge movements.
Yes, exactly right. And then in between each circuit set, we did cardio
In heavy quotes.
in heavy quotes. And that included running around in circles in a small ass room,
teeny circles.
teeny circles. You know when you like everyone knows this feeling where you run and you feel like you're gonna fall sideways.
Yeah.
It was that. And you can only hit a certain speed because obvious reasons.
You're in a teeny circle.
Yes, it literally felt like I went to 7th grade volleyball camp again, and they said, this is your warm up,
Mhm.
where it was like, we were skipping, we were lunging, we were
We were like,
butt kicking, we were high kneeing.
and also again, a little back piece of info is that Ken was feeling really sick that week. I had a
Mhm.
few days of being sick, and then Ken had a few days of being sick. And so like kind of like a pretty sick Ken was at this in this fitness class, and we were doing at one point like fast slide shuffles looking at each other in a circle where then we would like shuffle twice and then look outside and then look inside.
Mhm.
So we were just like turning back and forth and back and
Mhm.
forth and shuffling in a circle.
Mhm.
And I was literally, I remember thinking in the class, like, if I feel like I'm about to pass out because it feels like I'm in the seventh ring of hell, I don't know what McKenna is feeling right now. Because if you were sick on top of that,
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's
Yeah.
bad.
No, this is why I literally was like, it's back to volleyball camp, because the hours that I have spent shuffling are,
Yeah.
I can't even count them.
Ken is really good at shuffling.
So that the shuffling didn't bother me at all. It was everything else that bothered me.
Yeah.
And then I modified a lot because I didn't have any stake in this, and Laura couldn't really, because she was still planning on potentially trying to become an instructor. And
I
so
had to play teacher's pet.
yeah, and so I modified everything and got numerous looks for that.
Bad looks.
Some
Some comments like,
some
"Are you
comments,
okay?
yeah.
Are you well?
Yeah, no, she literally was just like,
What's wrong with
she
you?
was like, "Is this because you're sick?" Like, no.
You're sick?"
What was that move that like with the dumbbell? It was like some
It
dumbbell
was
move
weird,
that
like
didn't
snatch.
that didn't make sense, and I just changed it to a normal snatch.
Or no, it was a
Yeah, it was
bell
a-
throw or something.
Yes, and I was like, I would just prefer to snatch this. It's the same movement, like, but just less risk on my body. And she checked in on me quite a bit. Quite a bit.
So yeah.
Yeah.
There
Oh, wait, we forgot the most important part. To end the class, we had to be in a circle together, on the ground doing push-ups. And then we had to count out those push-ups out loud. Which
was-
once again is like, it's like you're on a team. Like teams
No,
do this.
yeah.
Adults do not do this.
Yeah. For any of my girly pops who have been in a service academy, it was like that. It was yelling your number.
Yeah.
And then we did a lot of like in a circle, like take a med bag and throw it to.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just spit on
This
Ken.
literally sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I wish we were making it up.
Yeah.
I wish we were being punked.
I wish. And it was one of those things where it was so stressful. Like if a gym is like gonna own that, like own it, right? Like you're gonna own like a boot camp sort of vibe, own it. This one was like we are trying to put that vibe onto a situation that it doesn't fit
No.
and that's poorly executed.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was one of those things where it was like, okay, circuit's done now. Run. Like literally that's how the transitions felt. That's how the person spoke to us that was teaching it. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hectic.
Yeah. And then she would go, faster.
Run in a circle faster. Our bodies are like at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah. So that's that.
Okay, wait. Also, oh. Same to the theme as that McKenna brought up about the cycle class is that once we were done with the whole class, the instructor goes, wasn't that horrible? Like literally,
This is the worst part of your day.
literally said, wasn't that horrible? And I turned to her and I say, no, that was fun. Like movement, it obviously wasn't. I was lying.
But like,
But I'm trying to prove a point of like, can be fun to move your body.
yeah. I mean, we
It
still had
should be fun.
It should be fun.
we still had a good time.
Yeah, because we were laughing in the corner.
Yeah. Laura and I were doing this exercise and then we started giggling and then she went like this and we had to stop. She looked at us and we had to stop giggling. We got in trouble.
In trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the end of class. The story keeps going though. And this is just about Laura. So I'm just gonna talk.
At that point, you still wanted to be a fitness instructor there.
No, I mean,
Really needed a job.
really needed a job. We don't like money in this household is not to be scoffed at. I needed a job, and so I was gonna go to whatever it's called, instructor auditions, and instructor auditions were the very next day.
And Laura trying to get the information for these instructor auditions was
Oh.
like pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth. Oh wait, we forgot to mention that after that class, Laura and I were doing a little dancey dance.
Oh,
We were gonna
yeah.
say that. Dancey dance in the room that we had just worked out in because Laura was gonna prep her audition.
Mm-hmm.
And we got very mean looks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the instructor that came into the class after proceeded to teach their entire class seated for no apparent reason, which I just think is very odd.
And gave us so many
And
dirty
continue to give us dirty looks. Yeah.
Okay, anyways. So I got the information for instructor auditions, winning the lottery. And so I go the next morning to another location of this gym in San Francisco. And I walk in and I'm like kind of early, so just like hanging out. It's much bigger than the other location that we were at, and the vibes feel extremely sterile. Like kind of scary. I did not like the feeling. But
I didn't
anyways,
know you were at the other one.
I was at a different location. Yeah, it was much bigger. So I go into the room where the auditions are going to be, and I'm just kind of chilling. And this other person comes in who's really nice and who already worked at that location. We chatted up for a bit. And then the whole crew, I don't know if they were assembled like at the front desk or something, and we didn't know, the two of us that were already in the room, but a whole crew, including some instructors that I knew were going to be part of the judging process, all walk into the room to start auditions. And so as the leaders are getting ready, like in the front of the room, getting stuff prepped or something, I like walk up to the whole group of other people who are auditioning, and I'm like, "Hey, everyone, like my name's Laura. What are, what kind of things are you auditioning for? What are your names? Where do you live? How long have you been in the city? Whatever." And I it it appeared that it was like illegal that I talked to some of those folks. Like it felt like people were asking me like, why are you talking? Like, do you work here? Like, are you already an instructor? And I was like, no, I'm also part of this audition process and I'm wanting to get to know you. Like, is that really hard to understand? Um, and so yeah, that was interesting trying to get to know the other people, but I feel like after a bit we all kind of warmed up with each other. I volunteered to go first, so I like auditioned my two dancing songs first. Um After which I was wearing this like um shirt that I'm not like a huge Star Wars fan, but I like this shirt that I have. Um, and it has like a little Star Wars logo on it. And one of the lead people in charge of the instructors who was judging the whole day comes up to me and is like, "Wow, nice shirt." But it was like I could tell that they did not mean nice shirt. It was kind of like a dig. And I said, "Oh, thanks." And they said, "That's a really bold choice for today." And I said, "Okay, thank you so much." Yeah, and then everyone did their auditions. We had people who were doing like weights classes, Pilates, yoga, hit everything. Dancing. I was auditioning like dancing, fitness dancing, along with the other person, one other person. So, whatever, we did everything. Um People who were judging this audition process, like people who were already instructors, including the person who did our first cycle class, who is, again, to reiterate, in charge of instructors for that one location, were on their phones most of the audition process, or talking to each other, or giving each other weird looks from across the room. Like, it was so clear the people that they enjoyed and so clear the people that they were not going to choose, except for in my case, I guess. I think I was kind of like, maybe they like me, maybe they don't. I don't know. Um, so yeah, really uncomfortable actions by adults in this space. I was like holding the door for some folks and they just like breezed on by, like did not even address me. It also, you could tell that the people that were doing other work at that gym were terrified of the instructors. Like people who were doing more janitorial work were not comfortable in the space. Like it was so clear that they had probably traumatic experiences before. So, um, yeah. What else am I missing? Am I missing anything? Oh, I guess like it was just like an attitude thing, and it was very clear that like the people this whole gym is kind of like a cliquey mess, I think, and they really profit off people hating themselves and moving in accordance with the fact that they hate themselves. So, I was kind of like, I was still had my, like, I didn't like after auditions go up to them and was like, take my name out of the hat. Like, I didn't do anything like that. Again, girly needed some funds. So they got back to us like 2.5 weeks later and told me that I had not made it to the next whatever or gotten hired. The other person who did dance fitness, who was super good, I asked her if she got hired, and she said I got hired as like a sub sometimes. So, you know, they at least have her, which is good. Um, I don't know anyone else. I'm not connected with the other people who did this class or did this audition process, but yeah, wishing them all the best in that system. That's all I got.
Yeah. So you both still don't have a gym, is
No.
the bottom line.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But more of the bottom line, I guess, is that a big like wake up that all three of us, I think, have had with health and movement and being on this podcast, period, is like, you don't have to hate yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't have to do that. And it's so fascinating to be in a place with so many members that pay so much money so that they have a place where they can go and feel this about themselves. Like, and these are like people well into adulthood. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's, yeah, that makes me sad. So,
Yeah, sometimes I think it feels like this is an early 20s thing where it's like we're learning how to love ourselves
Mhm.
and not punish ourselves. And it's easy once you've kind of surrounded your friend circle and started to like maybe educate your family members or just, you know, find your own freedom and peace with that, to then be thrown into a world where everyone thinks that and you're the outsider
Mhm.
is really jarring.
Yes, that's it. Because
Yeah.
I feel like in my life, the way I've created it, people with that mindset are the outsiders. But from the moment McKenna and I walked in, the eyes that we got, it felt like they knew, like, our
I felt like I
inside
was
thoughts.
one after the circuit class, we walked into the main gym and it was like prime time gym time was like 5:30. The eyes that were just like on us the entire time, I almost like wouldn't have even gone to that gym just because of that. Like, I just feel like when you go to the gym, I want to do my thing and I want to be in my bubble. And if I talk to people, that's fine, but I don't want to be like perceived, because it is a little bit of a social club as well,
Mhm.
which has its pros and cons of two people who are moving to a city and don't know a ton of people here. But at the end of the day, it was just like toxic vibes were coursing through its blood. We cannot engage with that. Um, I mean, I feel like we could have figured it out if we did it, but
Mhm.
there's no way that I would pay so much money to be part of a place that I would have to like actively work on not hating myself at. Like, even the 2 times that we went there, I told her, I was like, "I am feeling weird in my body. Like, I
Mhm.
don't feel comfortable. Like, I just like bad thought like, well, maybe I should stop eating this and maybe I
Mhm.
should change this and maybe I
Mhm.
should run 10 miles a day." Like, literally, like, just being in that environment, it was like, "Here you go."
Yeah. Yeah, really, really spooky stuff. Um, I don't know. And I think it was kind of jarring for me as well because it feels like the Laura that just me now, guys. Just me. Or are you farting? Oh, we had soy chorizo last night and it's not sitting well in these folks' tummies. Mal is fine. I was pretty gassy today. Okay, anyways, just like it was jarring to be like, oh, that Laura with like thoughts about like moving for so many minutes of my day, or for like thoughts about restricting what I ate, or thoughts about whatever, like weird tracking of my activity, like it feels like she's far away, but she's actually just like a very thin
Mhm.
veil away. And all it took was actually being in this gym for about 3 hours, and she was right there in my mind,
Yep.
like
Yep.
speaking her thoughts. So just, be careful out there.
Also, wait, this is kind of weird that this happened because it's just happened today. But Laura and I were at a coffee shop today and we're about to order coffee and, well, coffee for Laura, tea for me. And I turned, just, I have to remain consistent.
No,
here.
you're right. Be truthful.
Yeah. Um, and I gave like eyes to Laura and she was like, "What's happening?" And the person behind us, Mal, you don't know this yet. The person behind us was on her desktop. Love and light to her, honestly.
Oh
Like
my gosh, so
love and
much
light.
love to her.
On her desktop, adding her food into my fitness pal. Yeah. Which to me was like jolt me back to 2015. Like
Mhm.
2016 maybe, but scary times out there. Scary, scary. And I will say that now I feel, well, for me personally, that I've gotten, even though I don't have a gym and I miss a lot of components of it, I've gotten into a rhythm with my movement that I feel really good about.
Yeah, totally. Me too.
Yeah. And I'm excited to incorporate a little bit more play into my movement, like playing like pickleball and open gyms for volleyball
Right.
and maybe like shooting some hoops or something.
Oh my god. Some surfing for Laura, maybe.
Yeah, not for me, but
Mhm.
walks on the beach for me.
So that's our story.
Yep.
Mal is gonna be next up with a story that's a little bit more light. We're gonna add some lightness into the combo. If Ryan were here, he would not say this is a light story. I think this was the worst hour of his life. First of all, it was really interesting rehearing that because I think you both touched on the really valuable point that the environment plays such a role in your perception of yourself. And I think sometimes in our journeys, we like to think that we're past being influenced by the environment, but those environments are built to influence you.
Oh yeah.
Like when I was at Metabolic, it's like they were fine, but I similarly had the same thoughts every time I was there where I'm like, I like these workouts, but like, am I enough? So I feel that.
The casual giggle after that.
Just your casual
Am I
question.
enough?
So basically Ryan and I are part of a gym that offers fitness classes for free. And I had sort of avoided going to them because I really struggled to go to fitness classes because, not to toot my own horn, but I know a lot. And so it has sort of shattered a lot of instructors for me where I'll go and I just in my head will be it's really hard for me to get out of my head and not be critical of like their knowledge of anatomy or their programming of the class or their cueing. And so I kind of avoid going to other people's classes, which is not, I don't like that because I also feel like I gain a lot from like going to other people's classes. And I have created my own little bubble of like Carnival Pilates and Laura Hyman's Lit Yoga. And while I love those, they are the same kind of cues and programming. So I'm not getting a ton of expanded knowledge. So I had been thinking about attending some of these free classes and I took a yoga class with Meredith, which was very anatomically questionable, but I never really think that yoga is going to be good because I just have a very clear vision of like what I would want in a yoga class and I know that 99% of people are not going to be able to produce that. So I went into that knowing it wasn't going to be great. But then Ryan and I went to a core class and it was not good, but after going to the 3rd class, I think that 2nd class was the best class I've been to in my life. And just kidding, but in comparison
Yeah.
to the 3rd one I went to, I'm like, give that instructor a raise. She was incredible. Because after leaving the core class, I was like unoriginal, not great cueing, like anatomically questionable. But man, I'm like, that was loads better. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Perception shift.
after that class, right, our takeaway was if we happened to be going to the gym at that time anyway, and we wanted a core class, we might go to it. That was where we were at. We would never go out of our way. So, but we're like, okay, we'll keep trying some of these classes. So it was a Sunday, and we still have fits, and we were still getting used to like leaving him home.
Still have
Just in case anyone was curious whether or not we still had our dog. And so we decided for the first time to try taking Fitz in the car, and he would stay in the car while we were at the gym because he really doesn't like being left home. And so we already had a little bit of anxiety going into the class, not knowing how he would do in the car for an hour. And so basically the class was called Peach Pump, and I was very much hoping that there would be equipment involved because I have a knot. You know how scary it is when someone grabs scissors and puts them behind their back? That is literally terrifying. Laura just grabbed the scissors and then hid them behind her. It was actually so scary. My heart legit stopped for a second. I was like, I thought we were in a good place, but I guess not.
Wow, that would be scary.
scary.
Yeah.
No, I'm just rubbing out a knot. No, I get why that's scary though, because sometimes even
Yeah.
I have intrusive thoughts when I see scissors. Where I'm like, am I
Yeah.
about to chop off my hair?
No, sometimes even when Ryan has a knife, I'm like, what if he turns on me? Like,
No, sometimes McKenna thinks that I turned on her. Sometimes McKenna's like, oh, I thought you were like evil. Like you were gonna lock me out of the house or something.
after watching Ted Bundy, I was convinced Ryan had a long time plot to murder me. Okay. So Sunday, imagine Fitz is in the car downstairs. We're a little stressed about it. We enter the class. It's Peach Pump, hoping that there's equipment because Peach, I presumed it would be a glutes based class, which I'm a big glutes girl. Love that. Very, very excited. A man is leading the class. I will not say his name for privacy. It was an interesting name. So we get mats, and there's 4 of us in the class, Ryan and me and 2 other people, and then the instructor. And yeah, the class begins, no equipment. So it's just us on the mats in this like little tiny room that they have at the gym. And the first thing the instructor says, like very quickly and not enunciating, he says, I may need to touch some people during class. If your form doesn't look good, raise your hand if you're okay with me touching you. Like he said it that quickly and that like very quietly. And so the other 2 people raised their hand. And in my head, I was like, there's no reason he would touch me, right? Like, why would he ever touch me? But I raised my hand because of social pressure, which I think is again commentary on how the raise the hand thing does not work because I did not want to be touched and I still raised my hand. Anyway, so he begins class, and the class starts with blasting the song My Humps, which again, I wish you had been there because you may be like, well, yeah, that's a banger. And to that I say, sure. But it did not feel like a banger in this environment. It felt like it did not meet the need of the room. So basically we start with one of the worst warm-ups that I could ever imagine. I can't even put into words what this warm-up was. I have to say, I blacked out a lot of this class. So I'm doing my best from memory, but I actually do try regularly to not think about it. So I'm bringing about a lot of drama talking about this. So we're doing a warm-up, and at one point we're on our backs. We have our legs up in the air, and the instructor is telling us to straighten out our legs. So imagine we're on our backs, legs up in the air, straighten out the legs. Again, don't ask for the anatomy. There's no reason you need to be straightening out your legs. Like whatever.
I forgot about this part.
And so this instructor, I keep almost saying his name, so I'm very glad that I'm not saying it.
I'll bleep you.
Yeah. So the instructor comes up to Ryan, who has very tight hamstrings from being a runner, which is very normal. Like runners benefit from having tight hamstrings because that's what allows you to have speed.
And have you seen most men?
Yeah. Well, okay. Anyway, regardless. So this instructor comes up and without asking Ryan anything, he says,
well, you have to straighten out your legs. This man takes Ryan's knee and his ankle and then presses down on the knee to try to straighten out his legs. And Ryan is like panic in his eyes because, first of all, Ryan's not an idiot. Ryan knows there's no reason he needs to be able to straighten his legs. And this man is cupping his knee and ankle trying to straighten out his legs. And the guy keeps being like, well, why can't you straighten them? And Ryan's like, I just have tight hamstrings. And the guy's like, well, you should be able to straighten them. Anyway, goes back and forth. Eventually he stops, walks away. Ryan looks at me literally like the most concerned that he's ever looked in his life. I think at that point, if I had said, Ryan, let's go, he would have been so happy because it was already just such a red flag. Anyway, continue the warm up. We're doing squats. And at the front of the room, he says, okay, everyone has to break 90 degrees in their squat. Like basically you have to go like lower than
90?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And so he's squatting up there. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. Like, it's also like minute 4 of the class. Like, who has a full range squat that quickly? And Ryan does not have the hip mobility to do that. This man comes back up to Ryan and he's like, can you get any lower? And Ryan's like, no. And he's like, are you sure? And Ryan's like, no, I cannot. So Ryan's being targeted in this class, which he obviously does not enjoy. At that point, Ryan had checked out. For the rest of the class, Ryan just was not, he didn't do a single thing this man said. So the warm-up, despicable. Then we move on to the circuit portion of the class. And I would also like to say, so far, the class feels like they had gone up to the front desk and said, is anyone here free for the next 45 minutes? And this man raised his hand and they said, great, can you teach a class called Peach Pump? And he said, sure, let me get my playlist. I'll go in there. That's how little it felt like this man knew about how to program a class, what movements to do. Because the circuit part of the class, he would yell out a movement like squats. And then for some undetermined amount of time, we would do squats. And then he would say lunges. And then for some undetermined amount, like it was not the same. Like one we would do for 15 seconds, one it was like a minute and a half. Like there was no time. I smelled some gas.
It wasn't
That was
me.
That was me. Anyway, it was like squats, lunges, side lunges, kicks, like, and he would just yell them out and then he would start doing them. There was no cueing at all. In the entire class, I don't think there was a single cue other than straighten your legs and maybe get lower.
Yeah, get lower.
Yeah. And then randomly, like you wouldn't do like squats, lunges, kicks, side lunges, and then break. It would be like squats, lunges, break, side lunges, squats, break. It was like there was no order or like clarity to when we were stopping. So there was no like, oh, an interval, now we have rest. It was just at his whim. It was, I'm like really struggling because I was in survival mode. Like I really was just, I need to get through the next 5 minutes of my life. Yes, no, I seriously was in flight, fright, freeze. I was in freeze. So yeah, it was insane. Just kept throwing. And keep in mind, at this point, I'm like, okay, squats and lunges, you could make some argument that glutes are engaged with those, but they're really quad heavy movements. Like they're not like glutes are not necessarily the primary mover in those. And so I was like, this is really not a glutes class. And so I was a little peeved about that. But anyway, we do the whole circuit, just random stuff. We started doing burpees at one point, which I am like, there's no justifiable reason we should be doing burpees right now. And he doesn't give, there's no modifications for anything that we do in the class. I mean, none at all. And so Ryan and I are modifying it like a little bit. And the instructor, again, he's not cueing, he's doing full out workout. Like he is drenched in sweat and there's no judgment about that. But as an instructor, your priority is not your own workout. It never is.
Yeah.
If you are getting paid to do your own workout, that is not your job. And so I was already kind of frustrated because I was like, you're cueing us shit. You haven't really cued us at all. You have no programming that makes any sense. And there you are up there getting the workout of your life, like having so much fun blasting this music. And we're here being like, what the fuck is happening?
Floundering.
Yeah, it was insane. So basically, we get to the end of that and he goes, okay, time for the cool down. And I was like, whew, okay, it must be like time for us to go. And he said, okay, for the cool down, we're going to go back and forth between forearm planks and wall sits for 9 minutes. and I was like, ha, is he serious? And so we start doing that. And then Ryan thinks that he was joking, like, haha, cool down. But I'm like, I think this man might think this is a cool down. Like,
Yeah,
I
'cause,
think,
like probably he doesn't think that there's any like cardio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's
he
the
probably, yeah.
he's like, yeah, these are
yeah.
Cooling you down.
Yeah, yeah, no, honestly, he's probably like, this is heart rate going down. So the first round of the wall sit, you know, again, he doesn't time it. We're just in the wall sit.
Vibes only.
Yeah, and literally. And then we do the forearm plank, undetermined amount of time. I modify, get a dirty look. It's fine. We go back to the wall. And the second time, he said, everyone get lower. And then he, for the first time the whole workout, stands up and starts walking around the room. And I said, sir, you're the one that's tired. Like, you are the one that is telling us to get lower. And you're not actually doing this part. So after the second round of forearm planks and wall sits, I said, no way am I doing any more of this class. So Ryan and I did a little bit of we were kind of in the back of the room. There was only 4 of us. You couldn't really hide. So we did some glute bridges and we did a little bit of core just on our own. We were complete, like, I don't even know what he was saying during that point. I like literally was totally ignoring him. And then I was like, okay, because I kept thinking the class was going to be over because it was as long as 45 minutes of my life. Like, I mean, I was like, it has to have been 45 minutes at some point. And so I start to do some mobility stuff. I'm doing my like internal, external rotation. I'm like doing some abduction, blah, blah, all the stuff that did not happen during this class. Like, we were moving in flexion basically the entire class. Anyway, so finally, Ryan looks at his watch and he's like, it's already been 50 minutes. Like, we've been in here for 5 minutes longer. And I was like, we're leaving. We're literally getting out of here. There's no reason I need to be here any longer. So, well, this man is still teaching the class. We take up our mats and we put them away. And as I walk out, I see him doing my internal, external rotation drill. And I'm like, there is no way that this man knew that drill without me doing it in the back of the room. I'm sorry, he does not have the knowledge to know how to do that exercise. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I walk over after the class and I leave a comment in the gym comment box. And I basically say, this was the worst class of my life. I have lots of concerns about people taking this class. This is my email. This is my phone number. Please contact me. They have not contacted me.
Yeah. You know, similarly, I told our really, really kind salesperson at the gym Laura and I went to, I told this just last week. I said, unfortunately, we won't be moving forward with a membership with you guys. I have some feedback if you'd like to hear it. And no,
They don't
they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So that's why you all get to.
Yep.
Yeah. And I did write a newsletter about it. So if you would like to read the written version of that, feel free. But needless to say, I will not be going back to a class there, especially this class. I mean,
What?
when you said 7th ring of hell, I was like, that was my 7th ring of hell. Like, that was my bad place. Like,
Yeah.
really, it could not have gotten worse. Ryan was livid.
Sometimes January is in general my bad place because all of this like gym stuff like reignites.
Yeah.
And it's a scary time. Scary.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
But we don't have to subscribe to those beliefs.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Just like there's other forces in society that try and keep you in controlled.
So does Big Jim.
So does Big Jim.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree.
And movement is yours and yours alone.
And should be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and I agree. I feel like Ryan and I were laughing in the back the whole time. So I agree with your assessment of like, I did have fun in the sense of, you know, we were like in like horrified. And it was like with the dark humor of being like, I can't imagine my life getting worse than this class right now. But then laughing, being like, this is going to be the greatest blog post of all time.
Wait, but also if you're listening and you have a I don't know, interesting / ridiculous gym story, please let us know.
We'd love to hear
I
it.
would love to hear it.
Community episode.
No, I really would love that. We probably could have enough for that.
We probably could.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Gym scaries are real.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, well, thanks for listening to our vent sessions. That felt really good.
Yeah, it felt good to rant, but honestly, the book is shedding, page is turning.
Yeah.
We don't have to think about these people anymore.
No, and I just told both Mal and Lara the other day that I've been waking up excited to be like on my mat and doing the movement that I like. And that's just a testament to when you do things you like and that feel good, you want to do them.
Like actually want to do them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's all.
Go play outside.
Go play outside, go do a dance, go play some pickleball. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Love ya. Bye.
Bye.